go back, that's one thing that I would change. Whereas with the Ken Burns film, everything just was,
Right.
it just worked. Yeah, because I was the focus. And it was up to me to speak for the dead. And I did not, it's one thing to disappoint the living, but in my mind and in my heart, one thing you should never do is disappoint the dead. And the memory of those soldiers and the spirits of those soldiers was resting on what I had to say to keep their spirits, not their spirits alive, but the memory of how their lives were spent on the battlefield, fighting for justice, to keep that alive. And I had no option. Failure was not an option. I had to succeed, and I did.
So you're saying if you did have the second chance with Oprah and you were to redo the performance, you think you'd do it better?
Oh yeah,
Are you listening to me?
yeah, I would do it better. Because she thinks, she saw what she saw and thinking that's what I do. I was like a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10
Oh, wow.
on what I do. Because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because no one was paying attention to me. And that's what it felt like as a performer.
What is something you hope to achieve before retirement?
Well, most of what I want to make sure that the story continues on before I retire, which we're in the process of working on. But that's why I wrote my novel, to keep the story alive.
Right.
The main thing that I wanted to achieve, my goal, which goes beyond me actually physically retiring, is a major Hollywood film based on my novel. That's why I wrote my novel. I wrote my novel in my own time so that one day it could be the foundation for a Hollywood film. That may never happen, but one thing that I've learned is that the only dreams worth having are big dreams. Because if you aim for the sky, if you aim for a star, and you don't make it to that star, you'll get a lot higher than if you aimed low. So, what was that what the First Lady said? When they go low, we go high.
Mm-hmm.
With dreams, you should always go high. You should always have the highest dream imaginable. And, youth, African-American youth, Hispanic, Asian, they should be thinking, one day I'm going to be president, one day I could be a U.S. senator. Aim as high as possible. Because if you don't achieve that thing that you're dreaming of, or dreaming that it could happen for you, you might be a little bit lower than that. It says, yeah, I never became president. I had to settle for being a U.S. senator. I wanted to be the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. I ended up being just a federal circuit court. I mean, you still have achieved something. But if your goal is something that's lower, and then you might run into an old professor that says that, you could have done, you could have gone higher than that. So dream big. And that's the dream for those soldiers. And that's what I saw when I saw that photograph. I didn't see anonymous men on a horse. I saw Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, Cuba Gooding Jr., Terrence Howard. I mean, that's who I saw. Because I recognized that was the treatment that they deserved. Because when Benjamin Grierson spoke to the Buffalo Soldiers, the last time, I remember the phrase that always stayed with me, that one day they would receive due recognition and reward. I've never lost that. Due recognition and reward. And there's never been that kind of Hollywood treatment for the Buffalo Soldier story. They have not yet received that due recognition and reward.
What would you say to those watching, or to anyone of diversity, whether it's African American, Latino, Indian? What would you say to those who feel fearful of experiencing these natural or wild spaces?
I would say that fear is something that you have to control. Because it paralyzes you and it keeps you from achieving the things that you're meant to achieve. And it keeps you from having fun. Fear of the unknown. I mean, it is un-American to be fearful. I mean, really. When you look at the experience of immigrants who came here, whether it was forced immigration or naturalized immigration, they were filled with fear. To leave everyone that you've ever known behind, to go across a huge ocean, not knowing what you're going to find on the other side of the world. That was obviously a situation that would make people feel fearful. To be stolen from your lands and from your people, and to be in a situation where you could not even speak your own language to the people you were shackled with. And then to be not knowing where you're going and not knowing how you're going to be treated, but you're already being treated horrifically. That fills people with fear. But this is my thought. Our ancestors brought us here. Our ancestors came before us. We have a luxury of being fearful and dealing with things. They didn't have that luxury. They just had to deal with survival. So, like I said, my worst day was a good day for my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents. So the last thing we should be fearful of is going on vacation. You know, and I put it this way: if there are Hispanics or African Americans or Asian Americans that are fearful of by themselves going to a Zion, a Canyonlands, to a wildlife refuge, then take multiple family members. You have two or three cars heading up there, or charter a bus, and they got 40 of your family right around you. You know, I mean, it's a psychological thing, because the physical thing is really highly unlikely to happen.
Right.
I mean, I was in Montana, and I never was physically accosted. I mean, I got looks every once in a while, but that was it. And meanwhile, I forgot about the looks and didn't ignore them. I just said, wow, that's amazing. It's so beautiful here. And then it was just minor, just a low frequency irritant that was barely there because I was in the presence of the Rocky Mountains or the Sierra Nevada or Alaska.
Right.
And these places are our collective birthright. It's an inheritance. And if my family back home in Detroit told me that I had an inheritance, I would go there and claim it. I'd be the first flight out. What they used to say in the old days? I'd catch the first thing smoking. I think we're talking about trains or something like that. But African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, we all collectively own these places. And we have an inheritance. And I come from a blue-collar, working-class family. I love the idea that I own Wrangell St. Elias and Denali and Canyonlands and Arches and Bryce. I own all the wildlife refuges. They belong to me too, as a citizen of this country. And so when I have those thoughts, I realize that I come from a very wealthy family. That's a powerful thing. To not feel less, but to feel more. And the public lands give me this sense of ownership, a collective ownership. And I feel like every time I go out to a park or a refuge, I'm going out to my property and making certain that it's been being managed properly. That's a very powerful thing.
Nice. Do you have anything you wish to say for the people watching, or any final comments or thoughts or questions?
Hi. I hope one day you get to Yosemite. I hope one day you get to the mountains and to the deserts and to get to all the public lands that this nation owns, and that you claim that inheritance and that you basically have fun, because it's going to be an amazing experience. The negatives are nothing compared to the positives. And go out and enjoy them, because they belong to you. They belong to all of us. And if you don't go, I'll probably try to find you, and I will probably put you in a vehicle and bring you up here myself, because we should all be dreaming of these places, of these public lands. It should be something that haunts our childhoods, just like books like The Wizard of Oz haunted the childhoods of generations earlier. They should haunt our childhoods as well. People should be dreaming of a trip to the national parks or to Forest Service lands or BLM lands or state wilderness lands. These places are our collective ownership. So go out and claim your inheritance. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's an inheritance. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much, Shelton, for meeting with us.
Oh, you're welcome, but I'm just getting going. That was chapter one. Go. I would, no, okay.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
It was so nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you too. Pleasure.
This won't be the last, though.
No.
We're definitely going to run into each other.
I have a strong suspicion that that's going to happen.